Millions of workers go on strike across India. They say that new government measures discriminate against them in favour of corporations. It's another outpouring of public anger against Prime Minister Narendra Modi's economic policies. So how has the country's economy fared under his decade-long premiership? This is Inside Story. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Adrian Finighan. Millions of people are on strike across India, shutting down banking, construction and manufacturing, postal services and disrupting public transport, among other sectors. Trade unions say that they've united to protest against new labour laws and against a long-standing policy of Narendra Modi's government to privatise public services and favour big business over workers. So why are so many people so angry? And what does this mean for Modi's government and for his economic policies, known as modinomics? We'll put those questions to our guests shortly. But first, Imogen Kimber reports.
Favouring corporations over the needs of workers and farmers. That's what millions of people on strike in India are accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government of doing. The nationwide strike has disrupted large parts of the country.
Today, 11 trade unions came together and called for this strike. The entire economy sector is closed today. There are no buses on the road. There is no public vehicle on the road. All public markets are closed. Even the shops, where small transactions take place, are closed.
The unions have joined together to protest against what they say is an erosion of their members' rights under new labour laws.
The federal government scrapped the existing labour laws and has now come up with this new labour code. This code will take away all rights of the labourers. Laws will exist on paper, but the compulsion to implement the same will not be there.
Unions say the new laws extend working hours, restrict the right to strike and weaken labour protections. And a new pension system is unfair. They also want their members to have better access to more government jobs. Protesters say a list of demands they previously presented to the government has been ignored, and the policies of the government have benefited only one section of society, the big corporations. They also blame privatisation programmes for creating job insecurity.
When Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi entered the parliament for the first time, his slogan was, "I won't let them sell my country." Now they are doing exactly the opposite. As soon as he took charge, he sold Indian railways, then he sold banks, airports, coal. Their only job is to cause loss to the labourers and assist capitalists in earning profits.
Modi's supporters say the Indian economy has expanded by 40% and the GDP has doubled during a decade of his leadership. But charities and rights groups say inequality has increased and workers are becoming more marginalised and dissatisfied under so-called Modinomics. Imogen Kimber, Al Jazeera for Inside Story.
Let's bring in our guests. From New Delhi, we're joined by Amarjeet Kaur, who is General Secretary of the All India Trade Union Congress. From Bengaluru, we're joined by Adil Hossain, a political anthropologist and assistant professor at Azim Premji University. And from New Delhi, we're joined by Daniel Francis, political analyst and political brand consultant. A warm welcome to you all. Amarjeet, the unions claim that 300 to 400 million workers would join the strike and support the Charter of Demands. That's a staggering claim, but their numbers in India often are staggering. How well supported was the strike?
Yes, the people, the workers, the farmers, the agriculture workers, formal economy workers, informal economy workers, from public sector and public services, private industries, from everywhere, the people joined this strike call, which we gave for today, nationwide strike. And we were, till day before yesterday, we were expecting maybe about 250 million will attend. But today we were really seeing the reaction from below. We understood the figure has already crossed 350 million, and we are still getting the reports from different parts of the country. That really shows the real anger of people. The workers are really worried about these 4 labor codes, because these labor codes were achieved, the labor laws were achieved after hard struggle in India for last 150 years, from British colonial rule to independent India. Every right we got was through our struggles. And if all those rights of unionizing, collective bargaining, our right to strike, all those rights are taken away, this will be dangerous situation, pushing us back to the colonial era.
Okay.
Their anger is there with them. Why common people are angry and they are supporting us? Because unemployment is too much. Employment generation is not happening. And the recruitments are not happening in the sanctioned jobs.
Okay.
And the sanctioned
all right.
jobs are lapsing.
All right.
And
Amarjeet,
instead of giving jobs to
Amarjeet,
youngsters,
we will
the
get
government
into-
has planned to recruit retirees.
Amarjeet, we'll get into all of that in just a few moments. Let's bring in Adil here. India's economy, Adil, grew by 7.4% year on year in the first quarter of the year. It's become the world's 4th largest economy. What on earth are unions so unhappy about?
So while India is becoming the 4th largest economy, it is also the economy where the government has to provide almost 800 million. You talked about the numbers. Here are the numbers: 810 million people with free food. And that's because malnutrition is one of the highest here. India is also 4th largest economy, but we also know from the report by the Economic Advisory Council of the Prime Minister that migrant workers, there is increasing with the migrant workers, and the methodology was by the sale of train tickets where basically workers are cramped in small compartments, general compartments, and second class sleeper trains. Through the sale of these tickets, one of the Prime Minister advisory body is saying that the migrant workers are increasing day by day. So this is also the 4th largest economy, and we also know that the real wages in the rural sector has not increased in the last 10 years, like what it was in 2015. Jodre's report in The Wire, it remained the same in 2025. So that's why these paradoxes actually explain these protests by the workers' organizations.
Okay, Daniel, India's economy has grown by a staggering 105% in the last decade since Modi has been in power. Where is that wealth going? Are all of India's people benefiting from that growth? And if not, why not?
India's economy is growing very fast, and it has become the 4th largest economy, but the per capita income of Indians is very, very low. And those numbers, we cannot boast about those numbers. Nevertheless, for the growth that we have is also a growth that is much needed. And that growth is going to provide jobs for people. India also has a serious unemployment issue. And when laws like these or codes like these are changed, they also change with a view that more investment will come in and more industry will come in. And there would be a balance between the job expectations, the unemployment, as well as capitalizing on what's happening world over, so that India benefits from this growth. The clash between Indian governments and labor unions is not anything new. Since India liberalized, these clashes are ongoing, and whenever India has tried to try to grow its economy or try to invite more private sector to participate in its economy, these clashes have intensified. Is there a real solution to it? Is it easier to follow? I don't think there are real answers, because the problem before the government is to create new jobs and bring in a lot of unemployed youth into the job market. And government doesn't have jobs anymore to give, because the size of the government is just shrinking. The kind of demands the labor groups have are very interesting, and one should look into it. But even the labor groups have not extended their efforts into a lot of sectors that are emerging as well as unorganized.
Okay. Amarjeet, what do you make of what you've just heard there? The Modi government's policies are branded by the unions as being anti-worker, but as you heard just there, the economy is roaring and jobs are being created.
Jobs which were created, were sanctioned, are not being filled. The government is not giving jobs. Government is trying to fill over their apprentices or the retirees who are there. So it's not that the jobs were not there, but the government for last 10 years allowed the jobs to lapse. That's one thing. Secondly, the migrant laborers, their number is rising. Instead of decreasing, their number is rising because rural economy is suffering. When there are no jobs in rural India, the people are rushing to city areas. You had some scheme in rural area in the name of Manrega to handle the distress of poor people, which was started before Narendra Modi came into power. But even that scheme, they have slowly trying to kill that scheme. Rather, we were asking for similar scheme to be there in urban India also. The government has not heeding to that. And they are making all false claims of growing of economy. I want to ask, how come this government just written off 1,600,000 crores rupees of the loans taken mostly by the corporate sectors? And you are not there available for the poor people to give them social security? And a big lie is made that 64% among the workers are covered for social security. That's not the truth. That's a big lie. Not even more than 20% of our informal economy workers are covered in any of the form. Rather, informal or economy workers are most of them
Adil,
without social security.
Adil, I'll get
it
to
is
you.
only these registered unions from the factories who have some kind of a social security. But there also they are giving wrong figures. So unemployment is rampant. India is very young. Jobs are not being
bring
created.
it. I just want Daniel to come in with a right of reply. Adil, I'll get to you in a moment. But first, Daniel, how do you answer what Amarjeet was saying there?
No, I have a very simple submission to make. The government is not in the position to give more jobs. If you look at states, 60 to 70% of their budget goes in making salaries. When will they have infrastructure? When will they provide social security? I am not in favor of what the government is doing. I'm not saying everything that they're doing is right. But if you want Indian economy to grow, the benefits of Indian economy to reach the last man, private sector has to be facilitated to bring in more money, to set up more industry. If you want this inequality between rural and urban India to end, then industry has to be encouraged. Governments can't solve this problem on their own. The state of Kerala, which is the only left government left in the country, is not a government that attracts industry. Most of the people from Kerala who are the left party voters, have their families working in the Gulf or abroad, and they survive on foreign remittance because the policies of the states have not encouraged industrialization or investment friendly atmosphere. So these are real problems. The government, if people of India have to become strong or economically strong, the markets have to open, the markets have to be monitored, regulated, and the interest of the workers have to be taken in account. I'm not saying that it should not be taken in account, but for the economy to grow, investments need to come in.
Adil, why is the Modi government so dismissive of the trade union demands, given that the economy is so robust right now? Are the union's demands unreasonable? I mean, could the union's demands damage that economic growth?
Well, in this case, I can say that, of course, the idea that the way the government is seeing its economic policy, it wants to crush organized resistance. Of course, it doesn't want unions to be strong, and in that case, so that union don't pose that threat to the basically to corporate entities to basically, and that's how those and government says that we have brought these laws only to facilitate industry. That's one of their claim. But however, on the other hand, we see that because of massive privatization, the unions are also getting weaker. The migrant workers, it's very hard to organize the migrant workers. That I can see in my study in West Bengal. 21 lakh, more than 2.3 million workers are working outside. So we can see that the more privatization is happening, the more workers are facing precarity, and then they are taking gig work, or they are taking other kind of contractualized work. It is some kind of eroding of social citizenship on behalf of the workers that I can see. But at the same time, this precarity that is happening with regard to workers, it is keeping them precarious, needing of government support. And then it kind of, they fall prey into, you can say, on political clientelism. So overall, I think this is by design, that you can say that by weakening the unions, corporates will benefit. And at the same time, if you have a reserve army of unemployed labor, you can always keep the wages. Low, and which will ultimately benefit the major companies in the country.
Amarjeet, what do you make of what you heard just there? Would India's economy be so robust? Would it be creating so many jobs if the government was doing things the way the unions wanted to do them?
Just you heard that if you have too much unemployed in the society, you will be able to depress the wages. And that's practically what is happening, number one. Number two, our friend was saying that the government is trying to facilitate private sector because they can't create jobs anywhere else. The truth is that in India, private sector also flourished, and public sector and public services also flourished. We were never opposed to private sector side by side working. We are against winding up our public sector, which will weaken the economy, which will weaken the workers, which will weaken the middle classes, which will create too much of have-nots. And now these private sector people are putting people on contract labor, outsourcing. All these things are happening with depressed wages, increase of number of working hours. So it will be a situation of slavery for workers as we look at it. And to say that the government is investing for private sector, why the government can't keep the public sector and the public services, which are basic need of our economy, along with private sector? But let me tell you, the sectors which are giving largest jobs to our workers is MSMEs, medium, small, micro enterprises. And this government for last 10 years is killing MSMEs. At the cost of these MSMEs, they are simply shifting money to the corporates. And just now I saw here on the screen that 119 billionaires in India. It's not 119, it has crossed 150. And the billionaires 20 years ago were hardly around 10 billionaires were there. And now you find in India is topping the world. So whom are they benefiting? All these pro-corporate policies are killing our small businesses also, small trade also, more job-giving sectors also. And in the meanwhile, by attacking the labor codes, labor rights, and bringing the labor codes, they simply say it is for ease of doing business. Government is not hiding. We know very well when they say ease of doing business, it is services towards the pro-corporate sectors. This is how they are moving. So inequalities are rising.
Amarjeet, please. Amarjeet, we only have a certain amount of time. I need to make sure that everybody gets their say here. Daniel, what do you make of what Amarjeet was saying there? Is Modi selling the country?
That's a political charge. Does Modi have a problem in this country of unemployment? Yes. Does he have a problem in attracting investment? Yes. Does he think that the laws that are pertaining to the interest of the labor Maybe, yes. But there is no easy solution to this. Now, if you hike up the prices, if you go all out and ensure that everybody gets a good deal, nobody's going to come and set up a business here. Does the government? Is it the government's job to protect the interest of the labor in the market? Yes. Unorganized, organized sector, yes. But there are so many things that the government is working in terms of privatization is required also, because there are a lot of services that the government is unnecessarily rendering. These are not services that one should provide. Government should provide security, social security, economic security, health, education. Unfortunately, the public sector that my panelists are talking about, and also about the public services that the government is talking about, both of these things are not being adequately provided to the people of India. So the government has many problems. They are trying to solve these problems. I don't think they are selling the country. They can't afford to sell the country, but they have a surmounting problem of unemployment, which has to be addressed.
Okay. All right. Adil, let's talk about this issue of unemployment. With such a booming economy, you wouldn't expect employment to be running as high, perhaps, as it is. Its youth unemployment rate is particularly concerning, over 13%. And in urban areas, even higher, as much as 17%. Why is that? What is the government doing to give hope to its youth, to ensure that the youth is not left behind?
So right now it is kind of a bad situation with regard to youth and unemployment. And I come from the state of West Bengal, and I see that even child labor is also increasing quite a lot because at a very early age, they are also like migrating to other states in search of work. This is happening, because privatization of even, you can say, privatization of education, privatization of health sector. Also, along with that, social welfare spending also in some cases is decreasing, or in opposition states like in West Bengal. She was mentioning this Narega, this right to work, mandatory work given by the center. Even that kind of law is being diluted in certain states like mine. And in this case, because of the social safety nets are slowly eroding away, there is basically the corporate right now can't provide what they are basically providing jobless growth in the case of India. And because of that, we find more and more unemployment percentages rising. And with unemployment, we can see that more and more youths are going into very contractualized jobs, or like daily wage. They are basically, as I said, that they are forced to work at a very bad daily wage at many places, especially in the informal sector.
All right, Amarjeet, I need a reasonably short answer from you here, because we've only got about 4 minutes left. To what extent are Indian workers simply being subjected to the same treatment as workers in the US and Europe have been subjected to now for many years? Isn't all of what we're discussing here just simply a part of modern life?
You see, there is a safety net when you talk of America, when you talk of European countries, when you talk of Canada. But India doesn't have anything of that kind. The day you lose your job, you are a pauper and a beggar. There is nothing to, depend on. That is one thing. And the wages depressed so much. Government's own economic survey told that last year, the daily wages of an ordinary man was only about 252 rupees of a casual laborer and 128 rupees of a female labor. Nobody can survive even for 2 days on such a wage. So that depression is happening. So jobless growth is a reality. Child labor increase is a reality. And welfare state concept is being done away with. Welfare schemes, money is being cut down on them continuously. And can anybody live on 44 days working in 365 days on a meager 212 rupees a day? Nobody can work. So telling that the government is doing a lot, the truth is budget on education is reduced, budget on health is reduced, civic services are being privatized, water is becoming an issue for people, sanitation is becoming an issue for people. And during the time of Corona, 128% profit increase of Ambani's, 400% of profit increase of Adani's, whereas our 230 million workers were on street without jobs. So this government is crony capitalist government. I straight away allege that they are crony capitalists. They only speak for the poor, but they are out on the street to stop the trade unions to speak for the poor and for the working masses.
Okay,
and that's why I think this government is leading to jobless growth and intentionally leading to jobless growth.
Daniel,
situation is being created
Daniel,
where
we've
the
talked
people should depend
a lot
only
about
a few kg
Amarjeet, please,
of
please, Amarjeet, we're out of time.
cereals to eat
Daniel,
and live and sleep.
is GDP the best way to measure the health of an economy? We've talked a lot about how India's economy is roaring ahead, but it tells us very little about how its people live and work and how unfairly wealth is distributed within an economy. How healthy is India's economy really if, as Amarjeet says there, not everyone is benefiting from its economic growth?
I agree with her that not everybody is benefiting from the economic growth that India is having. But to target corporates the way some parties and some activists target is also not the way out. We need to create more Ambanis than Adanis if we not lessen them. And because they create jobs, they create infrastructure. And most importantly, we have to remember this, that the government is not in capacity, again, I repeat, to give any jobs, create any jobs. GDP is no indicator of how great the economy is doing. In India, there is a problem of sanitation. There's a problem of laws for protecting the labor. There's also a problem of nutrition, education, and healthcare. And the government is not able to solve these problems, and they are actually getting out of hand. The healthcare and the education system in India needs absolute revival, and it has to be accessible and available for the larger sections of the population which are poor. So while India is doing well, India also has to do well in all sections of the society, including the backward states, the backward classes, as well as the economically backward population of India. But targeting corporates or investments is not going to solve the problem. It's only going to make you, a country that has a reputation of uninviting investments.
There, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it. We're out of time. Many thanks indeed to you all. Amarjeet Kaur, Adil Hossain and Daniel Francis. And thank you for watching. You can see the programme again at any time by going to the website. That's at aljazeera.com. For further discussion, join us at our Facebook page at facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. And of course, you can join the conversation on X, our handle there at AJ Inside Story. From me, Adrian Finighan, and the team here in Doha. See you again. Bye for now.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.